What's going on, guys? The Barber Phil here, back again with another haircut tutorial. And in today's cut, we're going to be doing taper fade on the side, hard part, and we're going to cut the top down. Stick with me until we get to that top. I do use a different technique than normal to cut the top down, so stick with me, see how I did that. And then, actually, guys, if you pay close enough attention, you'll notice that the back and the other side in this particular clip is already done. But in some of the clips on the left side of the head, I'm actually in the way a little bit, so I wanted to play this right side first. Go ahead and do it in real time, not speed it up at all. So what we're doing is we're going to start things off with an open 2-guard. This is my Wahl metal magic clip. I have a 2-guard with the Wahl premium set. I've got it wide open. We're coming straight up off the head, making sure that we flick out at the top once we get to the desired weight area, which is usually right there at the top of the vertical bar or where the parietal ridge and that guard really comes off the head naturally. That's where you want to flick out at. You don't want to put in too harsh of a line. What line is left right here right now, obviously we will come back in a little bit, clipper over comb, and then blending shears to soften that up. Now we've switched over to an open 1.5 with the Wahl premium guards, and we're going to go about halfway to 3/4 of the way up through that initial open 2-guard section, and making sure that we flick out at the top there so that we don't put in another line that we've got to remove. And we will slowly work our way down. We got this 1.5 halfway close now. We're dropping down just a little bit, just being methodical with our steps, making sure that we stay within our parameters. This is a 1-guard. You saw me open the lever all the way up, and we're going to go about halfway to 3/4 of the way up through that 1.5 guard section, just slowly working our way down, but making sure that every single time we bring that guard up through there, guys, you're making sure that you scoop out at the top. Now just continue to work your way down, stick with the steps. This is the Babyliss half guard. So the Babyliss half guard is a little bit longer than the Wahl premium half guard, but not quite as long as the Wahl 1-guard that we just used. So I start with it open, slowly work my way down. Now I've got it closed, just getting around the ear there, lighten that up towards the bottom more, fold the ear down, make sure that we debulk some of that hair around the ear. Now we've took the guard off, we've got the lever wide open. We're just freehanding up through here, making sure that we flick out each time we come up through there. We close it up a little bit and remove that bottom line. You'll see later on in the video, I set in that line with the Babyliss FX at the bottom and then flicked out up into that initial FX line with the Slimline Pro. And then what we just did there with the closed no guard, that was from that Slimline. Now we're going to get right into debulking and softening up this blend up top. We're going to use clipper over comb. I also have a clip here in a little bit. When I did the clipper over comb on the left side, it's a pretty good angle to be able to see the way that I hold the comb in reference to angling it out away from the head. So make sure you guys stick around until we get to that point. So we're sticking with the Metal Magic clip. This is the Oster flat top combs. I personally like these the best for clipper over comb. The teeth are just as wide as the blade on your clipper, and they're a thicker plastic, so there's not as much of a chance that you maybe press too hard and your teeth on your blade go through the teeth on the actual comb itself. So that's why I prefer the Oster flat top combs when doing this technique. Now there's a spot or two that I noticed. Pulled back out the 2-guard, closed it up, hit those just a little bit. It's the extra little detail work that you guys can put in. Make sure you finalize and finesse these fades. And then from here, this is the blending shears. This is the final step as far as softening up that blend and the transition from the sides to the top. I always just come straight up and off the head, just like you do with clipper over comb, or just like you do with the guard when you're coming up the sides. And then when that hair falls back down, you've softened those ends up. It lays back down nice. You've removed a little bit of the weight as far as the heaviness of the hair, so it just kind of softly wants to lay back down into its place. Technique works, perfect for that situation. Now we'll get into the hard part and the left side and the back. So as far as the hard part goes, I use the FXs, or use my fine tooth comb to really hold that hair up top out of the way. I did start in the middle of his hard part because in the front, as you guys can see in his corner, He's got a little bit of a cowlick in the front of his hair, so it's lighter. It's hard to really pick the perfect spot to start from. So if I start in the middle of his hard part, I know exactly where it comes out in the front versus guessing where it is in the front and then working it back towards the middle. So that's why we did that. We do the bottom part of the line first. We flip the trimmer over. This is a good angle to see it. Now all I'm doing is tapping up through there, getting the hair on the top part of this line. And you know, that's the best way, I think, to get a nice crisp hard part. Continue with the FXs, give them a nice, you know, light. We're not going to enhance this or anything here, but we give him a slight box, line up his vertical bar as best that we can there, and then clean up his C cup, and then we'll get into the taper on the side from here. So to start this taper off on the side here, we put in our initial bald section with the FXs. Now what we're going to do, come in with the Slimline Pro, immediately flick that out, and then I'm going to use the metal magic clip just here in the bottom. We're going to start with the lever closed, flick out that Slimline bottom line that we just did, open it up halfway, move up just a little bit, 1/4 of an inch maybe, open it up all the way, continuing to flick out every time we come up through there. This is just going to allow us to fade down into this with probably a closed 1 guard or the Wahl Premium half guard, and it'll blend right in. Sticking with the metal magic clip, we're going to do an open 3 guard up and off at that weight area. I believe it's closed, and then we'll come in here in a second. The 2 guard, we'll start with it open. Flick up into that initial 3 guard. About halfway to 3/4 of the way up through it, we'll start working our way down, continuing that same motion, continuing those same steps, and then making sure that we stick with that the same line as far as the weight is concerned. We want to kind of drop it a little bit as we get more towards the back of the head. That was the Wahl Premium 1.5, doing the exact same steps. Here's the Wahl 1 guard open. Fold that ear down, and this is why I started with the right side first, because I still need to work on my camera angles and being out of the way, checking the camera more often to make sure that I'm not in the way. There were a few dark spots here, so I did come in. This is the Cordless Senior modified with the Addis Master Blade. I've got the purple 3 guard on here at first. There's a few dark spots. I like that ceramic blade that's on this clipper, so that's why I decided to pull it out. There was a spot or two, I hit it, was happy with it, so I went ahead and moved on. Now this is the angle that I was talking about with the clipper over comb. As you guys can tell, I come in, scoop under the hair, and then once I get to the top, I fold that comb, the teeth out, so that it's away from the head. It's usually pretty straight up and down. That way we over direct the hair out away from the head, and we leave weight, but we also remove the hair that does come through those teeth. As far as the back here, it's the same as the steps on the taper on the sides. You just have a little bit more surface area so that you can make this taper a little bit more spread out or higher if you want. I did the initial FX line. Now I'm following that same kind of arched angle with the Slimline just to remove that FX. Then we're going to come in, close no guard, just immediately flick out that Slimline section. Then we can go on up from here. Now we're at the bottom of the ear or so. This is halfway open with no guard. Then we'll go all the way open. And from here, once you get to an all the way open section, you know that you can fade down into this with either the closed one or the Wahl Premium half guard. So that's what we did. We're about mid-ear, just above the earlobe or so. We'll come in, same steps as we did on that left side. Clipper over comb at the top just to remove a little bit of the weight in the crown, but still leave it long enough for it to lay down. And then from here, you'll go 3 guard, 2 guard, 1.5, 1 guard, and then if you need to, the Wahl Premium half guard to blend out at the very bottom here. I'm gonna let it ride. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. Take a second while you're down there. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. Enable those notifications. Like the video if you liked it, guys. Leave me some feedback. I got a little bit of feedback on the last couple videos. I really appreciate it. You guys are letting me know some of the things that you noticed in my videos that maybe you do differently. Hey, that's why I'm doing this. I learn from, you know, either seeing myself do it, seeing other people do it, or getting critiqued. You know, that's how we learn. That's how we grow. So I appreciate all the feedback that I get, guys, and appreciate all those people that have been with me. All the newcomers, I welcome you guys to the channel. Appreciate you being here. Stick with me. I'm going to keep grinding this thing out and just see where the thing goes from here. Take a second, guys, once this video is over and you've hit that like button, you've hit that subscribe button, you've hit that notification bell, check out the link to the description of this video for the Tomb 45 Online Academy. I know you guys will greatly appreciate the knowledge that you can get from that academy. You get access to a lot of the top barbers: Sean Cuts Hair, Chris Bosio, Dre Cut It Out, Gib Beam, S-Craft Blend. Check that link out, guys. Sign up if you feel like it will help you. I think it would, but I'll leave that up for you to decide. So here's the technique for the top that I was talking about. I went ahead and saturated the hair. I've got it combed over in the direction that he's going to wear it. And we're going to do clipper over comb. I'm going to comb up through here, hold it flat, literally just like you would almost with a flat top. I'm going to comb up through here. I'm going to grab sections that I just cut, pull it back some into the section behind that so that I have a reference to go off of. And we're going to cut straight across here. On the right side of his head where it folds over to the side, you can angle it a little bit so that it's not overhanging too much, but you just work from front to back, and you can work from one side to the other, just always grabbing sections from the previous section you just did, using those guides. Work your way back through there. This is not a technique that I do all the time. It's a lot of times for me it is a thing that I do with comb overs on the occasion, because it's just easy to comb from the side that they brush it towards or comb it towards over towards the hard part, and just work your way up through there, making sure that you cross-check your work. And you guys will notice here in a second, I actually do come back in with shears, and other than in the bangs, which I typically do leave maybe a tad bit longer anyway so that they can be pulled back from front to back some, you'll notice that I don't have to come back in and really cut much, because this technique, when done right, you know, it's efficient. Obviously, there's less chance, I guess, if you're really worried about it, of cutting yourself with your shears. And I guess in some scenarios, if you really needed to get their haircut quick, this is a technique that you could use. Knock that top out pretty quick and, you know, go about it, get it done, and I think it looks good. Depending on which blade you use, so this is the magic clip, so it's got the crunch tooth blade, which is the stagger tooth. You could possibly go with a more straight edge blade, and that would give you a more like blunt cut across here. I particularly like using the magic clip stagger tooth blade because it gives a little bit of a choppiness to each cut as it comes through there, so it's not as, you know, blunt straight across cuts like you would sometimes. I know I've struggled in the past when cutting with shears. You'll come back through and then you'll be able to see each section you did with your shears. So by using those stagger tooth blades, you know, it helps eliminate a little bit of that. And then as you can see, guys, I'm coming down through here, and honestly it wasn't until I got to the bangs that I decided that there were a few points that I could take out from the back to almost the front there. I mean, pretty good. You guys let me know if this is something a technique that you have used before, something that you've seen before, you haven't seen before. Hit me up in those comment sections. Let me know what you guys thought about that technique and whether or not I was too risky to use it, pointless to use it, whatever you guys think. Hit me up, let me know. So hopefully this is a hidden gem for you guys. I realized this after a little while. Your client, whenever they have a comb over does not mean that you comb it straight from the hard part over to the other side. If that's how your client's hair works, that's awesome. But my client here, his hair, especially in the crown area, works way better when you apply pomade and then you comb it forward from back to front like I did just then, and then comb everything over to that front right corner, and then take the left side over top of the right. That's how I get that volume, or vice versa if they comb it off to the opposite side. So guys, let me know if that's something that you've heard before. Take a second, hit me up in those comment sections. Give me any type of feedback that you guys think about this cut or any of the cuts that I've done recently. Anything that you guys want to see. While you're down there, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Enable those notifications, and that way you'll never miss another video from me. As always, guys, like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. And until the next video, guys, which will be Wednesday, I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys sticking with me. Let me know what you thought.